Hello everyone, Darren from DrayTek Australia and New Zealand. As some of you may already know, DrayTek has been working on a new operating system for their products known as DrayOS version 5. It offers a number of improvements over the older DrayOS version 4 operating system that is used in most current model routers. In today's webinar, I'll go over the changes you'll see. It's already available in some new models, but will be available in new DrayTek products to be released in the future. Let's take a look. So DrayOS version 5 is the new proprietary DrayTek operating system designed by the R&D engineers at DrayTek. After listening to customer feedback, they've improved the design and layout and added new features. As mentioned, DrayTek have already started rolling out the new DrayOS on some products, namely the Vigor 167. Most new single WAN and dual WAN router models will also have DrayOS 5, along with new Vigor access points. Vigor switches have their own operating system, but this also will receive a revised user interface to match the DrayOS 5 look and feel. There are a number of improvements in DrayOS 5. Firstly, it uses 64-bit architecture, making it compatible with the new 64-bit multi-core CPU hardware. It has a hardware-independent management system, making it easier to migrate from one model to another compared to DrayOS 4. DrayOS 5 also has a completely new configuration and user interface framework that will be implemented in new router and AP models. DrayOS 5 uses a new user interface, beginning with a new color scheme. DrayOS 4 routers had a red and white color combination. The new interface has a grey and white design, as shown here with the Vigor 167. DrayOS 5 improves on the design and navigation system, so once you get used to it, you should find it easier to find the features you want. There's more uniformity as well. If you're familiar with our ACS3 monitoring tool, you'll find DrayOS 5 has a similar menu look and layout. In DrayOS 4 routers, the menu options are displayed vertically, with sub-menus displayed vertically below the main menu item. However, in DrayOS 5, menu items in a particular category are grouped and displayed horizontally. In the example shown here, time settings, device names, syslog settings, and SNMP features are located under device settings and displayed in a horizontal format at the top of the menu page. Let's now take a deeper dive into the DrayOS 5 web user interface and go through the functions. Keep in mind that at the time of this video, DrayOS 5 is still in the final development phase, so some of the features I'll show haven't been released yet and are subject to change. So the new menu consists of several categories, which can include Operation Mode, the Configuration menu, Security menu, IAM menu. IAM stands for Identity and Access Management, which is a new feature in DrayOS 5, which I'll explain more about shortly. VPN menu, Monitoring menu, Utility menu, System Maintenance menu, and Central Management, now referred to as Virtual Controller, which includes Switch Management and the AP Management and Mesh menu. These categories can vary slightly from model to model. For example, in the Vigor 167 on the left here, you won't find VPN or Wi-Fi options since they aren't featured in this model, but it has an operation mode. While the 2136AX on the right does have VPN and Wi-Fi options, but it doesn't have an operation mode because it only has the one mode. The Vigor 167's operation mode offers a choice of modem mode, that is bridge mode, and router mode. Modem or bridge mode is the default option and offers the ability to act as a transparent device to convert a DSL connection into an Ethernet output. That allows it to be plugged into another router with an Ethernet WAN port when a DSL interface is needed. For example, you may want to add a VDSL connection to a Vigor 3910, which only has Ethernet WAN ports, or you may want to add a second VDSL connection to a Vigor 2865 series, which has one DSL interface and a second Ethernet WAN port. Router mode, you guessed it, allows the Vigor 167 to function as a standard router. This isn't the default mode and will need to be changed here in the menu. This mode allows it to share the internet to multiple devices on a network, and it has some firewall capabilities beyond that in the latest firmware release. If you'd like more info, we have 2 videos on our YouTube channel showing how to configure the DrayTek Vigor 167 in bridge mode and for a PPPoE connection to the internet when in router mode. I'll leave links to those in the description below. The new configuration menu includes CPE functions that provide further services to LAN clients. It includes physical interface, WAN settings, LAN settings, DNS, wireless LAN options, routing including RIP, BGP and OSPF, bandwidth management, that's where you'll find QoS settings, NAT, IGMP, firewall objects, USB application, Wake on LAN notification services, where you can get a heads up to an email address if certain things occur, radius, and certificates, which is needed for some types of VPN. The new security menu includes features that can enhance network security, providing layer 3 and layer 7 security features in a DrayTek router. It includes the firewall filters, defense setup, MAC filtering, and IPv6 address security. Most of these features were previously found under the firewall menu in DrayOS 4. The MAC filtering feature is an upcoming new feature in DrayOS 5 routers, building on the previous allow block list in DrayOS 4. Okay, let's have a closer look at the new IAM feature, which stands for Identity and Access Management. IAM brings a suite of powerful security enhancements to DrayTek routers. With IAM, administrators gain the ability to finally control user privileges, define access policies, and seamlessly coordinate group policies with the firewall and traffic shaping settings. The Users and Groups option allows administrators to assign different levels of privileges to user accounts. Users can also be assigned to groups, which will make it easier to control the accounts in a group level. An external authentication server and user and MFA protection like the brute force protection can also be set up here. Under IAM policies, you'll find access policies, group policies, and conditional policies. Policies can also be applied to VLANs. Access policies are created for local users, which is a crucial aspect of maintaining security and control over a system. These policies help ensure that only authorized users or devices can access resources and services, users by login or guest hotspot, devices by MAC address. That then grants them access to a VLAN, bearing in mind that access policies will need to be applied to the VLAN later. Creating and applying group policies with predefined local resources is an excellent approach to managing network security and resource utilization. Group policies allows you to define rules and configurations for specific groups of devices or users. You can set up group policies for resources like employee workstations, network printers, and local servers. Additionally, you can customize firewall policies and traffic shaping policies to enhance network security and optimize traffic flow. Note that an access policy only controls who or what can access the VLAN. Group policies control access to resources and services. An analogy is if you host an event in a meeting room in a hotel. The hotel gives you a key card to unlock the meeting room door and maybe also the gym and some other public spaces, but you're not allowed access to other meeting rooms or guest rooms with that key card. If you try it, it won't work. Each space that requires a key card can be seen as a VLAN in a network. The key card represents identity, and the hotel defines who can access which space. Then, after entering the meeting room, the hotel also defines which resources you're allowed to use in that room. For example, a projector, a TV, a coffee machine, and so on. IAM access policies work in much the same way. They define who or what can access which VLAN, and the allowed resources in group policy defines which resources can be used after access is granted to that VLAN. Conditional access policies provide a flexible and granular way to control and secure access to resources based on a variety of conditions and criteria, enhancing an organization's overall security posture. These can require users to provide multiple forms of authentication before they are granted access to a resource. That can be requiring multi-factor authentication, including setting a re-authentication expiry time, restricting access by IP address, ports, or protocols, including VLANs, and setting up a time schedule. It's also recommended to only allow access to the bare minimum of resources. For example, a web server might only require TCP port 4434 read-only access by staff, but IT staff might use TCP port 443 and TCP port 22, that's SSH, for full access. This way, even if an employee computer is compromised, any attempt to control the server is still next to impossible without SSH access permission from the firewall. The Resources option allows recording IP addresses and MAC addresses of local devices like workstations, network printers, PBX systems, NVR systems, and servers, which can also greatly enhance the effectiveness of your access policies. These recorded addresses will serve as the foundation for creating and enforcing the mentioned access policies. The Hotspot web portal options are now found here. Previously in DrayOS 4, it had its own section in the left-hand menu. Here you can personalize authentication options and create a promotional experience for guest Wi-Fi users. You can choose a login method, design a login page, create access policies, configure whitelists, and create a compelling landing page post-authentication. And finally, in the Backup and Restore section in the IAM menu, you can backup and restore IAM policies along with associated resources. Additionally, an added layer of security is provided with the option to protect policies using a password. So IAM gives us precise device authentication. Each device's unique IP and MAC addresses provide a strong basis for device identification and authentication. Reduced false positives. With IP and MAC addresses, you reduce the likelihood of legitimate devices being blocked due to other potential factors. Holistic security. Combining user, device, and session-based policies enhances overall security without relying solely on one aspect. Enhance incident response. In case of security incidents, you can quickly pinpoint the devices involved and take appropriate action. The new VPN menu includes General Setup, Site-to-Site VPN, Teleworker VPN, VPN connection status, and Backup and Restore. Most of these features were previously located under the VPN Remote Access menu in DrayOS 4. Let's take a quick look. Under VPN General Setup, under the IPsec tab, we find something similar to the old DrayOS 4 IPsec General Setup menu. There are also similar tabs for WireGuard and OpenVPN. Under Site-to-Site VPN, we can create a new LAN-to-LAN VPN profile by clicking on +Add. Again, there's a familiarity to the old DrayOS 4 options here. We can set the direction to either dial in, dial out, or both. Select the VPN type. Note there's no more PPTP, L2TP, or SSL options. For those people currently using those, you'll need to transition to one of these other options when you make the switch to a new DrayOS 5 router. Username and password if applicable, and down the bottom here are the network settings. Teleworker VPN is what we used to call dial-in VPNs or host-to-LAN VPNs. VPN connection status will show us all active VPN connections. We also have a connection history tab where we can see connections over the last 2 hours or the last 24 hours, and tabs for failed VPN connection attempts and any that were blocked by brute force protection. And last in the VPN menu, we can also backup or restore VPN configurations and even add a password to the backup file. The new monitoring menu includes Clients List, Log Center, Wireless Information, WAN, ARP Table, Route Table, DHCP Table, IPv6 TSPC Status, IPv6 Neighbor Table, DNS Cache Table, PPPoE Pass-Through, and Session Table. Most of these features were previously located under the Diagnostics menu in DrayOS 4. You can pause the video here if you'd like a longer look. The new Utility menu includes network diagnostic tools that can help to identify an issue, namely the Ping tool and Traceroute tool, and there's also now a DNS lookup. The Ping and Traceroute tools were previously found under the Diagnostics section in DrayOS 4. So under Utility Network Tools, we first find a tab for the Ping tool, which allows running a ping from the router to a designated host using either IPv4 or IPv6. We can also choose a packet size, set a count between 1 and 4 pings, and even alter the interval. Trace tool allows running a trace route. Here also you can select IPv4 or IPv6, select which WAN you want to go via, choose either ICMP or UDP, type in a hostname or IP address, trace count from 1 to 3, and specify the maximum hops from 5 to 30. DNS is new. Here you can perform an NS lookup just by typing in a hostname or IP address, and you can do a DNS security check. This one is still in development and we're not quite sure what it will show us here, but we expect DNS details or perhaps any rogue devices routing us in an unexpected way. The new System Maintenance menu includes device settings, management, firmware, backup and restore, account and permission, system reboot, and registration and services. Account and permission is an important one for local security as well. Here you can assign roles and permissions to users who can access the router interface, so you can prevent certain users from creating new roles and assigning read-write privileges to the role, and also keep them out of areas that don't concern them. For example, you might want the hotspot admin to have read-write privileges for the hotspot related pages, but deny privileges for all other pages. And right at the bottom of the left-hand menu is a new section called Virtual Controller. This is basically an enhancement of the central management features we saw in DrayOS 4, but also where we now find the mesh options. Under Role Setup, you'll find the mesh options for routers that support it, and the device list shows all the devices that are connected to the mesh system, as well as APs that can be centrally managed. And here's what that looks like. There's also tabs for Mesh Status, which shows the mesh devices and signal and speed details, and AP Adoption, where you can scan for APs within range and add them to the network. Switch management can be enabled under General Setup in the Switch Virtual Controller menu. Here you'll see the details of switches connected to the router. Under Port Profile, you can configure some switch settings with toggle switches. The Maintenance tab has options to backup or restore configs, remote reboot, and factory reset switches. So to summarise, today we had an introduction to DrayOS 5. We also went through the new web UI, at least how it looks at the moment. Once you spend a little time with it, you can see that DrayTek have put a lot of thought into tidying it up and making it more user-friendly. We also had a look at the new IAM, Identity and Access Management security feature, which takes security in DrayTek routers to a whole new level. Okay, that's all for now, but please stay tuned. If you have any questions, we'll be available in the live chat on the right of your screen for the next 5 minutes. For more information about DrayTek products, please check out our website at www.draytek.com.au or send us an email to sales@draytek.com.au or give us a call on 02 9838 8899. Please like and subscribe below, and if you'd like a notification anytime we put up a new video, please select all from the subscribe drop-down menu as well. Thanks and bye for now.